Dungeons & Dragons is a group storytelling game. There are 3 to 5 normal players who just play their character. Then there is another player called the Dungeon Master who is not doing the same thing as the other players. This person is doing all the work. They are playing all the monsters and creating all the environments and inventing the whole world and all the quests and challenges. They decide, when the players try to do something, do they succeed? There are things that happen in D&D that don't happen in any other game, that can't happen in any other game. You can do almost anything, because the characters and the universe in this fantasy video game you create are also real human people, not a computer that has a script. You can talk to them and expect a reasonable answer. I just realized, this is a video. I can just put a video of some people playing D&D.
You come to the door, and it's a very, very simple, kind of slovenly kept house. The wood itself is a little warped from the weather. It hasn't kept well, and there's kind of a musty smell of mildew from the outside of the building.
Hello?
Yes?
Oh. Charming. My name is Percival Frederickstein von Musil-Kowalski de Rolla III. I was sent to you. I was sent here in terms to hopefully negotiate the purchase of some black powder. I've heard that
The door slams open at this point, mid-sentence,
Ah!
and you see from around the corner a very lithe, crooked-looking man, quite elderly, but very spry for his size. You can see his arms and legs are very lanky and almost spider-like in the way they move and shift as he peeks out, and you can see he has spectacles of 2 different sizes and thickness around each eye. His hair is kind of frazzled and gray and white. He goes,
Yes!
Oh.
You said you need black powder! Yes, come in!
and he runs back into the hovel.
Nice. I gingerly enter this.
We still with them. We're not.
As you step inside, the scent hits you immediately, and you realize this place is probably filled with black powder, and the last thing anyone wants is to set off any sort of flame. This would be a very bad idea. And as you look around, your eyes adjust to the low-lit interior, and you can see in the room there is a small forge that's kind of in disuse to the far end.
I would hope so.
There are a large number of crates and barrels that all seem to be containing various parts of discarded gravel. Basically, whatever is kind of shoved off of any mining expedition goes to him, and he just shuffles through it and kind of separates it in different pieces. And there's barrels full of sulfur. There's barrels full of what looks like broken kind of onyx or broken quartz. And they're all been separated. And you can see now this is kind of his OCD collection. And there is indeed in the far end what looks to be a barrel that contains a large amount of black powder that it's just everywhere. It's like this very fine coat of powder that is encompassing this entire room. And as he turns around, you can see now his hands himself are black and coated, and he goes,
So, you came looking for black powder, did you? No one asked about the black powder, but I knew it had a purpose. Yes. You wish to buy it? How much do you want? Speak up! Speak up! I haven't all day.
How much for a barrel or a hogshead's worth?
He turns around and like shuffles through a bunch of pieces of burlap and sack and pulls out what looks to be an actual dried and hollowed out hogshead.
To fill this hogshead with it, this will only cost you 426 gold pieces.
20.
Yes.
How about 400 even, and you can direct me to some ore as well?
Ore? I do not work in ore.
I thought you might have a friend.
Make a persuasion roll.
Nice, Percy. Nice, Percy. Look at that. He slipped right into Mercer there. No, that's
Yeah. I love Percy. 25.
25.
I'm sure you have a friend. You must. You seem so amiable.
400, I send you to Samson. Yes, you take?
My good sir, you have a deal.
Glorious!
He turns around and just jams the head into the barrel of black powder, picks it up. The soot kind of settles against you and the rest of you guys as you now find yourself partially covered in this slowly dissipating cloud of black powder. You cough instinctively and push it away.
400 gold. You pay?
I gingerly put the purse down in front of me.
He takes it with a whisk. It's already put away into a side pouch, and you hear the clanging of kind of haphazard coins in his far pocket.
Here. Hogshead, take it. To Samson, this way.
And he grabs your arm and drags you out of his hovel. He points across the way with this kind of shaking, crooked finger.
Samson, there, in the brick building. Tell him, Vitan sent you. He'll give you all.
Thank you for all of your help. You've been so kind.
My pleasure. You want more powder? Come back.
I might do that.
Good. Goodbye.
And pushes you out, takes both of you by the arms and pushes you out, slams the door behind, and you are left kind of standing there, half covered in blackened soot and black powder in the center of the thoroughfare, midday, kind of stunned by the whole encounter.
I mean, come on. Amazing. Come the fuck on. Amazing. Come on.
It's wonderful. History. D&D came out of tabletop war games, where each player controlled civilizations, armies, and countries. Like the game Risk, I think. I've never played Risk. And then they were like, hey, what if we just controlled one person each and went on an adventure? Like Lord of the Rings, which had been written by then. Okay, it was invented in 1973 by Gary Gygax, who worked for Tactical Studios Rules Incorporated. It was written as if the player already knew how to play war games, and already knew all the rules. In original D&D, everything was done with d6s, which is where the 4d6 comes from. At one point, it wasn't 4d6 drop the lowest one. It was more determined by your class. For example, wizards who are intelligent but weak would roll 9d6 and drop the lowest 6 for their intelligence stat, and would just roll straight 3d6 for their strength stat. In 1977, it split into Basic D&D and Advanced D&D, or AD&D. Basic D&D was written as if you hadn't played any tabletop RPG before. It was more accessible. It could be sold in toy stores. AD&D was if you had played Basic D&D, were hooked, and wanted more things. They had a lot of things. You can still find most of the AD&D stuff. It was kind of huge. Then in 1989, 2nd edition came out. Some of the things like demons and hell were taken out to make the game more marketable. Yes, you can go to hell in D&D. There's like demons and devils and fiends, and they're all different things, and everything's on fire. Even more campaigns were made, like Ravenloft, which I mentioned because they just rebooted that for 5th edition, and I have the book for it, so that's cool. In 1997, TSR, the company that owned D&D, nearly went bankrupt, so Wizards of the Coast bought D&D. Wizards of the Coast is owned by Hasbro, and they still own D&D to this day. 3rd edition came out in 2000. They brought Basic D&D and Advanced D&D back into one game. Also, they started using D20s. Before they used D20s, they used D6s, because that was all they had. It was in, like, every other game. And then they found some D20s and were like, wait, so you're telling me these things aren't elaborately shaped candies? Fuck. In 2003, Edition 3.5 came out. Another huge thing, where a bunch of things came out and a bunch of people started playing. That's such an understatement. I don't know what else to say, though. In 2008, 4th edition came out. They changed, like, a bunch of crap, got rid of skills, they made these, like, combat abilities, made it much more like a war game again, and a bunch of people didn't like it, so they made Pathfinder, which is like 5th edition, but worse. In 2014, 5th edition, the current edition, came out. They had started to really listen to the public, and it's pretty good. More recently, in the past, 2 or 3 years, people started putting their games on the internet, as live streams or podcasts, which has kind of made the number of players skyrocket. I'm one of them people who just knew about D&D recently. Rules. Players choose race, class, and background. Class is the most important of these decisions, but no one really expects a new player to know what all the classes do before they ever play, so honestly you can just flip through the player's handbook and choose a drawing that looks cool. Most of the math while you're playing is just rolling a d20 and then adding a 1-digit number to it. There are 6 numbers called ability scores, but I'm also going to call them stats at some point, because I forget. They describe what your character is good at and how you are different from the other characters. If you start and don't like the rules of how your character is allowed to do things, you can switch classes. Each class has a new set of rules. If you start at first level, it is very easy to die, but that's a common thing in D&D. If your character dies, 20 minutes later you will be creating a new character. In fact, if you don't like your character and want to make a new one, it is common to go out in a blaze of glory. Probability. Hey, since everything is decided by rolling a d20, everything is calculated by 5%. You can calculate the exact % chance that a character will hit a specific monster using a specific weapon. For example, my cleric could try to hit a ghoul who has an AC of 12. AC is the number you have to hit or roll higher than to hit the ghoul. He has +3 strength and +2 proficiency bonus, so whenever he makes an attack, he can add 5 to it. So if he rolls a 7 or higher, he will hit the ghoul, so 70% of the time he will succeed. You can even calculate how many times this ghoul will be attacked in a battle, and how many attacks are likely to hit. Say you have 4 player characters. They each have a +5 with however they are attacking, whether with a sword, a bow and arrow, or magic, and they can each attack once per round. A round is 6 seconds. So 4 attacks per round, 70% chance to hit. That's 2.8 successful attacks per round. If each attack does, let's say, 1d8, average would be 4.5, and the ghoul's health is 22, that ghoul will be dead in 4.88 hits, so 1.75 rounds. But if the ghoul's AC is 14, the players will only hit 60% of the time, so 2.4 times per round. So it'll be dead in 2.03 rounds. Also, there will probably be more than one ghoul. Also, what if the players gets knocked out? Or what if the ghoul paralyzes them? Yeah, ghouls can do that. You might be saying, isn't the average of a d8 4? No, because the range of numbers we have is 1 through 8. There's an even number of results, so we have to split the middle. If it were 0 through 8, then the average would be 4. If you could change the game, what would you change? Hey, that's part of being a DM. You can change the game. Anyone can. So much that I might have made changes without knowing. And I've also taken other people's interpretations of the rules and not known that it wasn't what the rules meant. I can't think of any specific changes that I would make that I haven't seen anyone else make, though. I don't know. Bye.